Lesson 9.6, Powers of Monomials. So monomials are one-term polynomials. Okay, it's something that we have dealt with for a long time, all year long. So when you have powers on powers, that means an exponent on top of an exponent, you then multiply the exponents together, and that's how you get the correct answer. So if you have a to the third in parentheses and you're taking that to the fourth power, it is literally just as easy as writing a to the 12th. You multiply them together. Now the hard part of this is when you go back to looking at the ones where you're multiplying things with the same base and you add exponents, please don't get confused about whether you multiply or add. It's only when it's a power on a power that you multiply, because what's going on here is this. I want to show you over here. This is the same as a to the third times a to the third times a to the third times a to the third. Something that we have already done before. When it's the same base, you leave that base a, and then didn't we just add all those exponents together? Which, what do you get when you have 4 3s? Well, that's 12. So this is just simply taking what we've already done and putting it as a shortcut when it's a power on a power written like that. So what would 12 squared to the 5th be, Dakota?
12 to the 10th.
So yes, 12 to the 10th. What about f to the 5th to the 7th power, Shane?
F to the 35th.
F to the 35th. F to the 35th. And be careful on this one, whatever's in parentheses, everything gets taken to the power outside. So x squared y cubed to the 6th would be what?
X to the 12th and Y to the 18th.
X to the 12th and y to the 18th. All right, any questions about that? We're going to add some negatives to this. But remember, don't forget about negative exponents. Put the negative exponents on the bottom in the denominator, and that takes the negative away. So if I have r to the negative 2, t to the third, and that's both to the 4th power, it would be this. R to the negative 8th, because negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, and t to the 12th. You cannot leave negative exponents in your answer. So therefore, it would be t to the 12th staying right where it is, and r to the 8th going to the denominator. Questions about that? All right, let's see what happens when the exponent on the outside is negative. M to the 3rd, n to the 5th. They are both to the negative 2. So that means you would do m to the negative 6 and n to the negative 10th. Okay, they're both negative, so that means they both have to go to the denominator. If you take everything down, you have to leave a 1 on top, and it would be m to the 6th, n to the 10th. That was some of the downfall on your quiz. Some of you took stuff and you multiplied it out, but you forgot to take the negatives to the denominator, so don't forget to do that. Questions about that? All right, let's see what else we have here. When there is a number with the variable, you have to end up multiplying that out, kind of like an evaluate type thing. So in parentheses, I have 2m to the 6th to the 4th power. That means everything in there has to be taken to the 4th power, so you have to take 2 to the 4th, and m6 to the 4th would be m to the 24th. You should not leave the exponent on the numbers. Go ahead and multiply those out. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, when you multiply that together, you would get 16, and then you would have m to the 24th. This one would be your answer. All right, so negative 5a to the third, b to the fourth, and we're looking at that squared. That means everything is squared. So let's think about this. Negative 5 squared would be negative 5 times negative 5, or positive 25. A to the third squared would be a to the sixth, and b to the fourth squared would be b to the eighth. Done. Okay, now we're going to do an application of this. Find the area of a square if the side length has 9x cubed y to the fifth units. So here's my square. Each side is 9x cubed y to the fifth all the way around. In case you have forgotten, the area of a square is side squared, because rectangles are length times width, but a square, all sides are the same, so side squared. So what I'm going to do is take 9x to the third y to the fifth in parentheses, and I'm going to square it. So 9 squared is 81. X to the third squared, x to the sixth, and y to the fifth squared, y to the 10th. And it doesn't give me units, but it says units, so I'm going to write on this units squared, just so I'm covered with all my labeling. 81 x to the sixth, y to the 10th, units squared. Okay, questions about that? Anybody still writing?